Hi, and welcome to an overview of asset-centric navigation using CAD Capture's AIM Suite and OpenText Enterprise Content Management. The AIM Suite, used alongside OpenText market-leading enterprise content management systems, Content Suite and Documentum, enables asset-centric navigation and delivers real productivity gains, significant time savings, and considerable quality improvements to your engineering drawings and documents and processes. For today's session, I'm going to be joined by Martin Richards, Senior Director of the Energy Industry Strategy team. Hi, Martin.
Hey, Chris.
Thanks for joining us. And my name, as you can see, is Chris Clark, Sales Director and heading up the commercial division of CAD Capture. So the agenda for today is going to be starting off with Martin giving us an overview of OpenText very briefly, and then a run through some of the industry challenges that he sees. Then he'll hand over to myself, and I'll take you through an introduction to CAD Capture, go through some of the engineering challenges that we specifically see that our toolset can help address. Then we'll go through an overview of the solution itself, some demonstrations of the tag extraction and hotspots, and then we'll end with a summary and some questions that we've often been faced when presenting this toolset to people. So I shall hand over to Martin and take it from there. Thanks, Martin.
Okay, thanks, Chris. To just go to the next slide, please. So while I'm aware that most of you out there may already be customers of OpenText, but I would like to just do a bit more of an update on OpenText and just explain why we are running this session, working with this session with CAD Capture today. We are now a $3 billion annual revenue business, operating in 104 countries around the world, with around 120,000 customers. And we have world-leading products in many areas: business network, for example, customer communication management, and obviously enterprise information management, including the content management systems. And importantly, for today's session, more than 10% of our annual revenues are generated from the energy industry. That's oil and gas, utilities, mining, chemical, and so on. So this is a really important industry for us. We work with 19 of the top 20 global oil and gas companies, around actually 45 of the top 50, if we look at it on a slightly broader basis. And we're working on digital transformation projects at many of those customers. And this really means that we see a lot of the challenges and successes that the industry faces. And this is the basis for what myself and Chris are going to be talking about today. So let's first of all take a look at the value chain, in this case for an oil and gas company, from upstream to downstream, and how it relates to what we're calling really the intelligent core for an energy company. Around this core, as you can see in the diagram, are many of the applications that we at OpenText address today with our solutions. Things like engineering data management, asset operations management, and supply chains, for example. The challenge that most oil and gas companies face in creating this intelligent core is that most of the systems and data within operations is disconnected today. Separate systems, separate repositories and databases that do not talk to each other or share data. The problem this causes is best illustrated when we look at it from the viewpoint of an operations or maintenance engineer, as we see on this slide. For example, a maintenance engineer, to carry out a work order, they must first access an EAM system, then look at maintenance reports, find the shutdown and startup procedures, check HSE regulations and compliance reports, review PSI processes, and so on. In a recent survey, we found that on average, an operations and maintenance engineer has 28 different systems to navigate daily, Each of these systems will have different taxonomies, different search tools, and varying data quality, anything from paper up to fully digitized information. This is clearly time consuming, it's complex, and it's almost designed to produce errors. So there are two ways in which we can look to resolve this problem for our engineers. Firstly, from an OpenText perspective, through the concept of extended ECM. This can act as a backbone connecting all the systems supporting the asset lifecycle, and therefore, improving the decision support. For example, an EH&S employee drafting safety documentation, a quality management employee drafting the SOPs, and an engineer updating an engineering drawing are all sitting on the same platform, accessing the platform from different entry points, resulting in a technician receiving a maintenance order from SAP, goes to the field, opens up a work order in SAP, and immediately gets access to all related documentation needed to complete the work order. So that's what we're achieving when connecting the systems together. Secondly, and really to achieve that level of data integration, we need to organize and connect the data within the systems around a unique and universal ID. In this case, focusing all data from internal and external systems around an equipment or tag ID. As the diagram shows, this provides a user with the capacity to focus all data searching and retrieval from a single entry, a tag ID, for example. We have a customer based in Europe, a large chemical company based in Europe, that has fully embraced the concepts of this connected and intelligent environment. They use a combination of SAP Asset Central and OpenText Documentum to provide a full asset foundation supporting global operations. This includes incorporating supplier and manufacturing data, so the engineer has a single 360-degree view of all information relating to a single piece of equipment. So this is one of the objectives we're trying to meet when we talk about moving to a connected and intelligent operations environment. So let's sum up the challenge. Well, let's look at where we are today and sum up the challenge that we see that companies have in moving in this direction. And as I've said through this presentation, the vision of most energy companies is to move towards a more data-driven operations environment with the benefits we've just described. And while all new capital projects are designed using 3D models and have all the associated data to support that, the vast majority of today's operating assets are over 30 years old, with information still in paper, in basic 2D format, often, sitting in an OpenText ECM repository. So the question we're looking at today is, how do we unlock the data that sits in today's engineering content? Things like P&IDs, possibly in an OpenText repository, and allow engineers to better find and navigate this information and start to achieve the benefits that I've just described. All right, Chris, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Right, so I'm now going to talk you through some of the information about the solution specifically, but starting off with introduction to CAD Capture. CAD Capture, based in the UK, we've been an OpenText partner for over 15 years now. We specialise in engineering for over 30 years now, and we're experts in the capture, control, and collaboration of documents and data. So in terms of the engineering challenges that specifically we can help address, well, some of the ones that we see often here. Firstly, engineers searching for documentation and information related to specific assets across multiple systems, so ERP, enterprise content management, plant maintenance, etc. We have the maintenance engineers who are trying to determine how equipment is connected and what it's associated with, in order to isolate that equipment when performing maintenance and overhauls. And also, a classic is the challenge of navigating across multiple drawings. For instance, walking the line on P&IDs is difficult and time-consuming and often subject to errors. The solution that we have to offer, and we think is very powerful in this situation, is asset-centric navigation with CAD Capture's AIM suite. So firstly, we'll start off with the base layer of the OpenText Content Management System, the ECM. and this could be either Content Suite or Documentum, and along with each of those, their engineering platform, XECM for engineering for Content Suite, or Asset Operations for Documentum. With the introduction of the AIM suite, you get the ability to automatically identify, extract, validate, and categorize the asset tags within your drawings and engineering documents, unlocking the content that is often extremely difficult, if not impossible, to access and utilize effectively. The harvested tag information can then be compiled into a tag database. This means that you get a more granular view of the tag information held within drawings or engineering documents, giving a view of the tags on a certain drawing or the drawings that hold particular tags. The ability to extract the tag information isn't tied to any particular system, so any collection of native AutoCAD drawings and searchable PDF drawings and documents can be scraped, and the information from them can be compiled into a tag library or database. So it's system agnostic at this stage, but the full extent of the asset-centric navigation solution and the AIM suite becomes available when this tag extraction capability is used within the OpenText environment of the ECM. This then means that an end user is able to access tag-related documents and information directly from the tag itself via automatic hotspots. I'll now talk you through just a quick summary of both of those capabilities, the extraction of the tags and then the CAD hotspots, before going into a more detailed overview. So beginning with the tag extraction, this solution automatically unlocks the content from within your drawings and searchable PDFs, giving you greater visibility of your valuable asset information. The tag information can then be compiled into a database or library, giving visibility of tags per drawing and drawings per tag. It means that you're also able to manage these effectively moving forwards in a standalone database, which can be updated automatically every time a new drawing or version is created. The ability to identify, extract, categorize, and validate, as I said, as many different asset tag types as required, and keep this maintained over time, ensures the tag library is always kept up to date. This can then be compiled in the database or library, uploading and then in future updating the information directly from the drawings themselves. As part of this process, we can identify and correct errors at the metadata level without the need to change the drawings in any way. Here you can see the tag BUH100C should have a dash in the drawing. It doesn't, as it's been entered incorrectly. We can correct this at the metadata level and upload the correct value into the database, so you get the benefit of being able to search on both the corrected and the actual value in the drawing, and no alterations to the drawing are needed. You're able to validate your tag information with the information from the drawings against your master data. This means you can then make sure you know what is in the drawings is consistent with the information in your master system. This can give great improvements to your master data governance. You're able to use this information as a standalone database, as I mentioned, with an intuitive web UI, a load sheet or spreadsheet. Alternatively, you can populate the information in the OpenText ECM, and then that can facilitate the hotspot system, which I'm now going to talk to you about. So once the information has been harvested and stored in the tag library, it can be utilized to activate each instance of a tag and turn them into dynamic hotspots. These hotspots deliver fast, intuitive search and retrieval capabilities directly from the tag itself, which is the core of the asset-centric navigation solution. It turns engineering drawings into a dashboard that can help drive the task at hand, giving access to related drawings and documents at the click of the mouse or touch of the screen. You can also overcome the barriers between unstructured drawings and documents and structured data related to the asset held in separate systems such as ERP, asset management and plant maintenance, etc. And this means a right click on the tag gives you direct access to the system containing the information required to carry out the task at hand related to the asset that you're working on. An example of the fast, efficient retrieval that this can deliver is walking the line using piping and instrumentation diagrams, or P&IDs. Following a pipeline across a plant by navigating through multiple drawings can be very time-consuming and fraught with errors. If the drawing can't be found, or the wrong drawing or version is retrieved, this can cause major time delays, sometimes significant problems, or even hazards. These challenges are vastly reduced with the hotspots, as a single click on the continuation or the off-page tag takes you to the published version or the correct drawing. As mentioned earlier, the ability to correct errors and overcome inconsistencies between sites and systems means that you can get a more consistent search and retrieval function, particularly across multiple units, locations, and systems. If there is a difference between the way that a tag is represented on a drawing and in a system such as plant maintenance, you can bridge this gap by building tolerance into the pattern recognition rules for the hotspots, giving the ability to search on both version of the tag and making sure that all the tags and the related information is findable. And the ability to boost your productivity and gain faster, more consistent access to your critical engineering content can be invaluable for engineering-focused organizations. The intuitive nature of the system means it works how engineers think, focusing on the assets engineers are working on, rather than multiple documents and systems that they need to reference and interface. So now I'll give you an overview of the tag extraction itself. We'll start off with a bit of the why, and then we'll get on to some of the how for this. So firstly, the benefits that it can deliver. Scraping the information from drawings can be time consuming and costly, and very often it's a point in time, so that needs to be repeated over and over again. And we can avoid that by giving you something that can be maintained over time. The ability to correct the tags at the metadata level means that you can improve the quality of the drawings without actually having to go through the timely and costly process of actually changing the drawings themselves. Again, the improved search and retrieval capabilities can save time and give you additional search options in terms of granularity and visibility of the tags themselves. And the ability to unlock the content, the valuable content that is in the drawings, and upload that and make it accessible from other systems such as ECM, ERP, or asset management, again, can be very, very valuable to many organizations. In terms of the illustration of how the tag extraction works, so we'll start off here. We've identified a tag, in this instance, a piece of equipment, a vessel, and the pattern is 1 to 3 letters and 3 numbers. So you've got V-110. That's been identified and it's been added to this table of the database where we've identified the type, the tag itself, and the location on the drawing. We can also handle tag separators. So here you can see that the 100C/D, there's a single instance on the drawing here, but we can take that and give us a separate line item in the database. That makes it much more searchable in terms of the integrity of the drawing itself and the database. We're able to extract complex tags such as instrumentation within bubbles, and we can add further intelligence using AI and machine learning, so we can recognize certain tags and identify them by their proximity to arcs or to circles and bubbles. And again, this information is all entered in the table and therefore the database. And you can create as many asset types as needed. So examples of common types that we use: equipment, instrumentation, pipeline, and continuation tags are very often the place that we start. But if there are additional examples that are needed, then the system can flex to accommodate however many different types are required. So just to go through a short example of a search for some tag information. Here we're putting in, using the Smart UI in the Content Suite environment, and we can see that this is the qualified results, and you can see that the information at the metadata level holds the tag information. So that therefore means that we've been able to take the information off the page and make it available in the ECM. So it's something that can be searched, and documents related to that tag can be identified in this manner. And as mentioned before, the Documentum platform is also supported for this capability. Now moving on to the CAD hotspots. So again, we'll go through excuse me, the benefits first. In terms of the ability to navigate from the tag to information in external systems, very powerful, breaking down the barriers between structured and unstructured data. As I mentioned before, the ability to walk the line, jump across from P&ID to P&ID can save a lot of time. Vastly improve the search and retrieval capabilities, and works how engineers think, delivering the asset-centric navigation capabilities that we'll show you now. From an end-user perspective, we're going through the same search screen, doing the same search for the same vessel, V110. This time, when we get the list of results, we'll actually click on the tag and we'll open it up. And this opens up in the OpenText Brava viewer. We can then add an interactive layer, which is when the hotspots become available. You can see down the left-hand side some of the additional menu items that the hotspots module adds. And here you can see the hotspots themselves. So each different color represents a different type of asset, and therefore a different type of functionality that can be included. Starting off with the right-click menu, and we'll look at carrying out a search for related documents. So on the left-hand side here, you can see that there's a list of the related documents where that tag is present and relevant. We can then go and click on one of those documents, double-click on it, open it up. This is a data sheet. There is a tag in this data sheet as well, so V110 is here also. Now, the journey could have started here. Someone could have opened the data sheet and want to navigate to other information related to it. That hotspot will have similar right-click options, but you can also utilize the hotspot's history. So this is where you get a breadcrumb trail of all of the hotspots and drawings and documents that have been visited in a session. This allows you to navigate back to places that you've been earlier in the session, and it also means that you can save this so it can be utilized at a later date. So whether it be a task being carried out and paused at the end of the day or over lunch, or a maintenance task which is carried out periodically. So the benefit there is the next person, and it doesn't have to be the person who carried out the original overhaul, can access that information and see the drawings, tags and documents that were referenced the last time that task was carried out. So we'll go back to the original P&ID. And again, we'll explore some more of the right-click options. Here you have the business workspace, so the XECM platform and framework that Martin mentioned. We can now give you the ability to access directly into the business workspace from the drawing itself, and similarly for other systems, such as Maximo in this case, an equipment dashboard, so you can get direct access to other systems that hold related information and data to the asset itself, or from the single interface. And now we get to the continuation tags. Now this is really the low-hanging fruit. This is where it very often gets engineers' attention straight away, because they spend a lot of time very often moving from document to document. And the example that we used before, when you're walking the line, continuation tags mean that you can simply, when hotspot's involved, click on the tag and it takes you to the related drawing and it shows you the entry point. So we've come from drawing 46C and we're now on drawing 46E. And that's as quick and easy as you can get in terms of navigating from one drawing to another. And here you have an example of all of the different options and tag types that we've given here. So you have each hotspot type is colored differently, and you can have a right-click menu that's specific to that particular asset type. So you might want to access different systems. So here you have Smart Plant, other systems for a line. You might just want to load a line list, and for the continuations, just to load the document. So you have that flexibility. You can start off with one or two right-click options, and then you can scale that up as your business need increases and the usage of the system goes up. Okay, so that was a quick run through of the two capabilities that we deliver as part of the asset-centric navigation solution. Firstly, the extraction of the hotspots, and then the extraction of the tags, and then the creation of the hotspots. The ability to identify the asset tags at the drawing and document level automatically is a real differentiator for our solution. And then to take that further and be able to correct them at the metadata level without changing the drawings. So whether that's to overcome inconsistencies or just overcome errors where the drawing or the tag has been entered incorrectly. To be able to validate the information against your master data and compare what is in the drawing with what is actually in the master system can be very powerful. Utilize that tag location from a search and retrieval point of view, and therefore activate that tag information, create a hotspot, and the ability to drill down or across, break the barriers from structured to unstructured information, and get to the information you need from an asset-centric point of view rather than document or system-centric position. And again, some of the reasons you would do this in terms of the ability to get the intuitive user interface, which can lead to rapid user adoption of a new ECM or an existing ECM that's growing in its use. It can lead to increased regulatory compliance and improved safety. And it can also give significant quality gains in terms of the ability to overcome the errors and inconsistencies that were mentioned before without having to change the drawings themselves. And all of this can be done without any need to change the drawings themselves. And here you can see some information with regard to some of the support we've extended to smart devices. So we now can give all the functionality we've shown you today to tablets and mobile phones in the OpenText Content Suite and Documentum systems. And we've got a web page that you can visit, Hotspots Just Got Smarter, for more information and examples on that. But right now I'll stop there, and I shall just go over to Martin. And I don't know if you've got any comments or thoughts on what we've gone through, Martin. And I know you had some questions that we've come across over the time as well.
Yeah, so, yeah. Thanks, Chris. No, I think you know, as you said at the start of this, the increasing move to data focused and equipment focused strategies for most of the energy companies. I think the solution that you've just walked through is an essential part of enabling companies to take that journey. Really, the fact that it also integrates with fully with the OpenText platforms, where a lot of this content is stored, I think, from my perspective, makes it just a really compelling solution, and something that I think most of our OpenText customers in this industry really should be taking a serious look at, and we know that's happening as we speak as well. So thank you for that. Just there were some questions that came in while you were talking there. Got a few here. First one, somebody's written in and said, "What should I do if I'm interested in this? What do I do? Is there a possibility to have a proof of concept? How long would it take to do that?"
Okay. So what do you do if you're interested? You can contact me directly. My information's on screen, but as you well know, Martin, we're on the OpenText price list. So an OpenText customer can contact their account exec, and they'll put us in touch with them. We could also look to do a POC with drawings to demonstrate what we've shown you here within the context of a client's business, and that can give a much better feel for what we can drive in their particular instance, and it'll give visibility to the sort of systems that they might get value from being able to access. So yeah, feel free to approach us directly or via OpenText, and we'd be happy to help.
Okay. Another question here, I think, which is really relevant. A lot of the customers, in this industry, especially from an OpenText perspective, are large global companies. So, how is the solution scalable across multiple sites, and how does that work?
Okay, absolutely. So it's scalable across multiple sites, and within a site, you can take the system and then grow it over time as well. We have clients using it on single locations and multiple sites, and I guess some with very high numbers of sites across large geography as well. In both single and multiple site deployments, we've still been able to overcome the inconsistencies and errors between the units and sites as well. And once you get to a multiple site environment and landscape, as you can imagine, there are more differences that come to light, and therefore the value that we can deliver actually becomes more important, because from a corporate point of view, the clients want to standardize and do things in a certain way. And our ability to overcome and tolerate the differences between the sites means that our system can be relevant, on a multiple site deployment just as much as a single site engagement.
Okay. Another question. Obviously, a lot of the content we're talking about here is engineering content. It's P&IDs or it's equipment sheets. And a lot, in some cases, that content is not only stored in an OpenText platform, but it's stored along with things like extended ECM for engineering. So, does the AIM suite work with those engineering type products from OpenText?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So again, I would expect any of the OpenText clients who have got some sort of asset focus to, if they're not already using XECM for engineering or asset operations, to be considering them. And we work with both those platforms. So absolutely, we can work hand in glove with those platforms. No problem at all.
Okay. Last question. I think it's a really relevant one. Certainly from my perspective, we're seeing an increasing number of our customers now move to the cloud for the management of their content. We're looking at providing content cloud type platforms and solutions. Does the AIM suite work on the cloud, or is it just on premise?
Right. Okay. No, that is sort of the current burning question, isn't it? So right now we're on premise, but later this year we'll be available on cloud, and we're also in the process of discussing getting onto the OpenText cloud as well. So not just the general cloud, but being able to be part of the OT cloud. So again, that shouldn't be an issue. That's really where we know that our future lies, and that'll be available shortly. So we're happy to have conversations, and we're already engaged with a number of accounts where the only way that the system is going to be deployed is on the cloud. Hence the reason for us pushing so keenly to deliver the cloud availability.
Yeah, and I think that's in line with our strategy at OpenText as well. So from both the platform and the specific solutions that sit on top of it. So, all right, that's all the questions, Chris.
Okay, well, thanks for your time, Martin. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you for listening. If you have any further questions, then my contact details are on screen. And as I mentioned, you're also able to contact us via the OpenText team. So I shall draw things to a close, and thanks for your time. Goodbye now.
Thank you.